Swanee River, far, far away. That's where my heart is yearning ever, home where the old folks stay.
Welcome to Florida Mint on Florida Man with Greg, Wayne, Josh, and Cameron, the podcast where Floridians discuss the legends, lore, and crazy stories that always seem to take place in Florida.
Whoa, hello.
Florida. Got you again.
You
That
did get me.
was-
I tricked you again. Guys, I'm upset.
Okay.
That's
That's pretty
why
obvious.
your face is red, I
Yes.
assume.
I'm upset. My face is red because I've been squeezing anger in.
But you got no reason because you're here doing your
I've got a lot of
favorite
reason.
hobby.
Let me tell you, if you listened to last week's episode, I won the quiz finally.
Congrats, by the way. I meant
Thank you.
to say that.
Thank you for finally saying
I'm
that.
a little bitter
You
still.
squeaked it out.
Every time you win, you get a song,
You
a
do
victory
get a custom song.
a
Yes.
victory song at the end of the quiz. I got mine. It was beautiful.
It was. I loved it.
Okay, well,
You recorded it.
it's not there anymore. If you listen to the episode, it's gone. It's a robot voice.
I mean, I haven't made it to last week's episode,
Okay.
but I'm
The-
sure it's not a robot voice.
one-
Greg wouldn't do that to you.
Greg did it. Greg deleted my track. He put it on there because he's mad at me because I wouldn't give him my sister's phone number.
Oh, hold on.
Oh,
hold
wait.
on.
Back up. Your newly single sister.
Greg
Who-
asked you for my ex-wife,
Yep.
your little sister's
Yep.
phone number,
Yep.
and you said no?
I said no. And this morning when I came in, or tonight,
True
when I
friends.
came in the studio, he shook both your hands.
Yep.
He put his hand on my chest
Oh, okay.
and he looked at me in the eye and I said, the answer's still no.
Okay, wow. I mean, he could have just came to me.
yeah, I would have given it to him. I
would
don't
give
care.
it to him.
He's going by the old Highlander rules. You go to the
older
eldest brother,
Oh.
not the husband.
Okay.
Which
Okay.
explains the chest thing. He was probably
Yes.
trying to rip out your heart. That's the Highlander move.
That's the next move in this series. The
I think the
sequence
only,
of
thing, the
events.
only thing that could calm me down would be some headlines,
Definitely.
if I'm being honest.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Nice.
Okay, headlines.
Ooh, yay.
Let's talk
Headlines.
about some things going on.
That's them,
Are
baby.
you going to do that voice every week?
That wasn't me that time.
I'm getting Josh in trouble.
That's good.
All right. So, Florida man
Okay.
arrested for stealing drills, batteries, and cigarettes
Mm.
to pay for his ankle monitor fee.
Mm.
How do you feel about that?
What store sells
Drills?
batteries, and
Batteries?
cigarettes?
Cigarettes. That's a one-stop shop if I ever see
Yeah.
one.
What is that?
So it was multiple places.
Oh,
John,
Okay, gotcha.
John Wayne Parker, Jr. Let's
Okay.
not get senior in trouble.
Right.
No, he's
It's
a good
Junior.
guy.
Yeah, senior's
He's got
great
his own
guy.
drills.
Yeah. He's 32 years old. He was charged with 3 counts of burglary, 1 count of grand theft, and 2 counts of petite theft.
Oh, we've
This
heard
one-
that before.
That's when you steal something small.
Yes,
Yeah,
very small, like a cigarette.
Right.
in this case.
Or small lingeries.
Right.
Yes. So he basically smashed the window of a it says Hitchcock's Market,
Okay.
and stole cartons of cigarettes.
right.
This happened in East Palatka. So if you're around
nice.
East Palatka, give us a shout out.
Yeah.
Let
What's
us know.
Donate some
Um,
glass to that window.
Yes. But then he found some work trucks in the area.
No.
Like, construction,
These are blue-collar guys.
blue collar guys. He steals their drills and the batteries, like the extra batteries for their drills, which are very expensive.
If I
Right.
know one way to guarantee a beatdown, it's you
steal a man's drill.
steal a worker's tools. That's one way.
Especially his batteries.
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, to have the tool but not have a battery,
Yeah.
Right.
Take a
Nish,
man's
nish.
drill, but leave him his batteries.
that's what I've heard.
Cameron's
Yeah.
always said that.
He does say that.
So John Wayne, he steals this stuff. The people in the area have kind of heard him talking about
Uh-huh.
needing to pay his ankle monitor fee. He's kind of mentioned, so they
Okay.
didn't at first know that it was him. They just knew that he had been talking about he's late on his ankle monitor fees.
I didn't know
I didn't
these
even know
were-
that was a thing.
No.
Like,
So would you rent those?
I guess so.
I'm sure it's got some type of SIM card.
So
but the fee
I
can't be
always
that
think
much.
of like ankle monitor fees like being on house arrest.
Right.
But maybe it's like,
No.
is he restricted to an area, or is it like a go to work and then come home type
I think
deal?
they set up a proximity, like, hey, stay in town, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think if you've done something wrong,
Yep.
and you deserve an ankle bracelet,
Yeah.
so they can track you, I just assumed the state paid for it.
No, I don't
they
think
nickel
we
and
should
dime
pay
you.
for that.
Yeah,
No.
they nickel and
Yeah,
dime.
so I
you
guess,
know.
which why would taxes? We don't. Anyway, let's not get into that.
Okay, buddy, calm down.
But yeah, so I guess you do have to pay your fee for your
Right.
ankle monitor to
Mhm.
be contained to your own town. Well,
Nice.
he was getting a little behind, so he decides to, kind of borrow some
Supplemental income.
things. He stole about $3,000 worth of cigarettes alone.
Jeez
Wow.
Louise.
That is a ton.
Wow.
That's like a semi truck of cigarettes. I feel
That
like
is. That's like Ninja Turtle semi truck.
What's he gonna do with them?
Smoke
he
'em.
was selling them to third parties
Oh, okay.
and basically just trying to raise money to get
For the ankle monitor.
yeah for the ankle monitor fees. Here's the thing. Deputies kind of heard talk about this, and so they went to check out this like local campground in the area.
Mhm.
The detectives,
Oh,
this is like real work here.
Right.
The detectives found cigarette butts similar to the ones that were stolen,
Jeez,
sitting
okay.
around the campfire,
What the crap?
and then
They pick them up and smell them because that's how I picture it.
Yeah.
This one's from one of those
They're
boxes.
like,
Yeah.
this is John Wayne. It's like a western.
John Wayne Jr.
Not senior.
So they at this same time that they were
Uh-huh.
doing this investigation at this campsite, John Wayne was
Good
actually
God.
at the courthouse paying his ankle monitor fee.
Oh, wow.
So, anyways, deputies meet up with him later,
Uh-huh.
and they were able to look at his ankle monitor and see exactly where he was each night,
Goodness.
which
Which
was
that makes
when-
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he has like a tracer on him that can put him exactly at the.
I mean, if I'm
Scene
being
of crime.
honest, you can cut out the whole sniffing cigarettes to find out where the guy's at if he's got a freaking GPS around his ankle. Just,
I think
just
that
look and
was
see where he's
before they
going.
knew
Yeah.
who he was.
Maybe
Oh,
they
yeah,
should
that's true.
see
That's true.
crimes and then scan where everybody's ankle monitor was.
Here's an
Yes.
idea.
Well, how do they know? Well, yeah, I don't know.
I
I
just
don't
think
know.
everybody should have to wear one.
Yes.
Agreed.
And
That's
then
true.
you just look through the computer and see who was there that night.
Remember they talked about putting the little sensors in your
You're
arm
thinking-
like the
you're-
dogs have?
You're
yeah,
thinking of the Left Behind series, Mark of the Beast.
Let's
yes,
do it.
You have to.
Let's
I
do it.
would. Put it in my forehead or my wrist.
Kirk Cameron, hit me up.
That's what Josh always says.
Yep. All right. So you guys know that it's been unnaturally chilly in Florida.
It has
We
been.
talked about
It's
it
very
last
nice.
week with the iguanas literally falling out of the tree.
Yep.
I got some backlash on the fact that I've eaten iguanas.
Right.
Somehow it was the same person that Greg is trying to hit up at this point.
Right.
Animal lover. She
Yes.
is.
Wayne's little sister was upset that
Josh's
I...
ex-wife.
Yes. That person,
Yep.
Greg's new girlfriend,
Oh, hello.
said that she was upset that I ate iguanas.
Well, it's in the past. What are you supposed to do?
I don't know.
You can't regurgitate
I'm just
it.
passing it along.
See,
the
this is what I'm talking
information.
about. She has so many flaws.
Oh, no.
And I am a man among men here.
I just want to say, anytime that Cameron gets in trouble on this show is because he's eating some kind of animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The,
Or killed
the
it.
goldfish,
Or
the,
skinned it.
the
That's
iguanas.
true.
Yeah.
Or punched it.
Well, anyways, it was so cold. That's all I was trying
How
to
cold
get out of
was
this.
it?
Thank you. That a Florida man in St. Pete, he was so cold that he had to make a fire to keep himself warm.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
But he did this by setting a stack of papers on fire in his apartment building
Okay.
to keep warm.
Right.
Well, the
Well,
problem is
Desperate
there's
times.
Yes.
30 apartments in this building.
Oh, my.
He sets off the fire alarms.
Did none of them have heat, though? Because maybe he was.
Well,
He's
you would
trying to
think
help
so.
everybody.
Yeah.
Well, he set off the fire alarms. They had to evacuate the buildings.
Into the cold.
Into the cold. The fire department came, put out the fire. They're
Nice.
like, dude, like why would you do this?
Yeah.
Like he's like, well, I was cold. I literally didn't. I had to warm up. They're like, you have a heater.
oh, no.
You have
No.
multiple
He has
ways. Yes, he had a heater.
Good God.
So we don't know what the story is
I'm sure the
with
drugs were
Mark.
involved.
His name
Uh-huh.
was Mark. There probably was some drugs or some alcoholic beverages
Whoa.
involved. Who knows?
Could be.
Wine coolers.
Yes. I have one
Give it
more
to
little
us.
short story, and this is really a little bit of advice. I'm
Right.
going to use a story
Oh.
like a parable, if
Right,
I may.
sure.
If I
This
may.
is getting interesting.
Okay.
This is to Josh.
Okay.
A Florida
Oh,
woman
goodness.
was arrested for texting and calling 911
Mhm.
to ask how to file for divorce.
Okay.
Come on.
Well, there are other resources. If that wasn't her, because I'm having to do all the footwork here.
So, Sylvia Shoemaker used. I didn't even know you could text 911.
Let's try it.
No,
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Is this 911?
this is a
For real?
test.
Hello.
So yeah, she texted and called 911 multiple times one night to make non-criminal complaints about her husband. Okay, and then she was basically asking for things like a counselor through this and how to file for divorce.
Right.
And so they ended up sending deputies to the house.
Probably
This is like
good
at
choice.
1:50 in the morning.
That's when mine was decided also.
Early
That's
morning.
the time
Well, were you also highly intoxicated like Sylvia?
on life. Mostly.
Yes, okay.
Intoxicated
Well,
on life.
I think she was intoxicated on other
Okay, good.
substances. But yeah, she was arrested and charged with misuse of 911. But honestly, I just the biggest thing I got out of it was I literally did not know that you could text 911.
I just feel like our show is at the point, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. You know, we've done okay for ourselves this past year. We have a following that's like pretty large at this point.
Yes.
I feel like we have a responsibility to say don't text 911.
Oh.
Do not do that.
But if you do that and something funny happens,
Let us know.
let us know.
obviously.
I feel like that's
after
fair.
you
Don't
after
do
you
it,
get out of
though.
jail and you get your ankle monitor.
Don't do it.
And don't sell cigarettes to pay
No.
for that ankle monitor that you got from texting 911.
But if you do it,
Let
And
us
you could
know.
probably make good money.
Yes.
Because $7,000 was, and they're light and but don't do it.
don't
don't do it.
Don't
But-
do it.
But do it.
Just let us know what happens.
Do it. Text 911. Text 911.
Hey, fellas.
Hey there.
Hello.
So last week,
Right.
you got surprised
Yes.
with a quiz.
Yeah.
But I was supposed to talk about roommate stories, and I'm glad I waited because I had another one filter through that old house of mine.
Okay.
Another roommate?
Well, potential roommates. So what happened is,
okay.
obviously, I asked you guys, friends and family, hey, looking for a roomie here because I'm freshly single,
Right.
ready to mingle.
Right.
Not with a roommate. It's strictly platonic. But do you know anybody? And all my big circle of friends and family said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
So
Go find a stranger.
At your age, everybody is taken.
yes, at my age, everybody's taken. So I put some feelers out on Craigslist just to test the waters to see if this room was affordable and at that rate, right? So I put, just send me your info and we'll see. So I got a lot of responses,
Mm-hmm.
and I invited a few gentlemen over.
Okay.
Nice. From Craigslist.
Yeah,
For interviews.
for interviews.
Okay.
Yes, not at the
Gotcha.
same time, so they could see the space.
Okay.
So my posting kind of looked like, photos of the room,
Uh-huh.
photos of the house, photos of the dogs.
Yes.
None of me. I like a surprise there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then, so they got the general idea. I said, fence and yard. I have dogs. You can't have any pets. You have to
wow.
pay me X amount of monies.
Right.
Uh-huh. So first guy shows up. I'll use his real name,
Okay.
Derek.
Derek. Okay.
I don't think he's a listener.
Right.
Well, you should be.
He should be. So business guy, loved it. We talked a lot because I think he was in insurance and, one of my main jobs is insurance. So he sees the room, loves it, is okay with the pay. And this is my first guy, so I'm really nervous interviewing a guy for a spot in my house.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
So he works kind of normal hours. So on the way out, he's got a pickup truck, which didn't pull in and have loud exhaust, which is great because I like
Okay,
a quiet
yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, well, I got a few other people, and he's like, well, you got over there in that garage. Can I park my hog?
Your hog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
You
I'm
said no
like,
pets, though.
I did say no pets.
Yes.
So I'm like, I'm sorry, say again. And he's like, my hog, my chopper. And I'm like, oh,
Wait, he made a motorcycle noise?
he made a motorcycle noise. I think that was like his first thing because he stopped it quick and then said, my chopper,
Okay.
my
Okay.
Harley.
Okay.
And I'm like Harley was going to sell me on it.
Yeah.
So is that a deal breaker for you?
Well, I thought so at the time until I went through these last two guys.
Okay.
And I got some.
So why, is the Harley a deal breaker just because of the noise, or
well,
were you just not wanting to have
he
the
said
biker-
park and work on it.
Okay.
And I'm not,
You got a HOA, you've got neighbors, you can't
Yeah.
have like
I don't want trying to repair your motorcycle. Just take it to the dealer.
Or just
something.
bragging.
It's just bragging.
It's a bit braggadocious.
I'm going to go out for a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I have to sit there and play motorcycle video games.
You know
Right.
who you are. There's definitely people listening
Derek,
right
you
now.
know who
you
you
do
are.
that.
Yeah.
So next guy
Okay.
comes through. And
What's his name?
This guy's name, if you're listening, Tyson.
All right,
Okay,
Tyson.
nice.
Very nice meeting you. Tyson sent me his, I guess it's a resume for renters.
Okay.
His
That's a
profession.
thing.
Yeah. Well, he like just told me about himself. He's a sous chef.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah. He works opposite hours of me.
So you never got to
Okay.
see him.
Yeah. He's nights and weekends. And I'm like, gold. And then he's like, I got a few gaming systems. I can't bring my TV, but I got a few gaming systems.
Sounds like a plus.
Yep. I'm like, awesome.
Mhm.
You can hook them up. So he shows up and I go through the stack and I pull him out and I'm like, okay, Tyson, right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, cool. You're a sous chef. What was the restaurant? And he's like, well, I mean, aspiring.
So
And
he's
I'm
not a sous chef.
Aspiring.
Well, he's like training. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you'll be a sous. Okay. And I was like, where at? And he said, Sonny's.
He's at Sonny's barbecue.
Real pit barbecue. But he said
they
real.
do have sous chefs there.
I'm sure they do.
Yes.
He said he chops meat.
He's
currently.
He's a meat chopper.
Meat chopper.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Was he like, you want to see my knives?
God, no, thank God. So, cool guy, but it's just, you don't have to lie to me about that stuff. And then like saying bye to him and saying, hey, this is kind of, I'm still looking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There was no car outside.
Okay.
He walked away from my house,
How far?
which is concerning because there's not a Sonny's locally to me.
Woof.
So I don't know what his plan is. And I don't want to get in that relationship where it's, hey, if you want me to make rent, I need you to take me to work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'd be rough.
Yeah, but you're right. There's not a Sonny's within like 25 miles. So
No, it's
yeah.
what? Yeah.
that's not adding up.
There's
Thank
nothing
you.
around here.
Yeah.
Last guy,
Okay.
Carl,
Yeah.
if you're listening, very nice guy, very
Yeah,
friendly,
sounds like it.
business professional.
Right.
I think he was a county employee.
Okay.
That's a plus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you have to have some level of, responsibility. and
Sure,
stuff.
right.
So I'm like, okay, stable. Recently divorced, clean cut, which is weird that I look for clean cut dudes, even though I'm not. It's
Right.
very judgy of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just that kind of person, though.
Yeah. I'm just like, give
Judgy.
me that clean face because I know what I'm hiding under here.
But
Yeah.
it sounds like he has a lot going for him so
He's
far.
got a lot going for him. He's got no kids. And then he's like, at the end, we're talking. He's like, you said you got dogs? And I'm like, yeah, I got dogs. And he's like,
Mhm.
okay. I mean, I was bitten by a dog, so I'm not really like that pumped about being near dogs. And I'm
you got
like,
pit bulls.
yeah,
As
I'm
in
like,
he's afraid of dogs.
he's semi-afraid. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, we'll get you acclimated to him. And then he's like, and then, I mean, how firm are you on the price?
Oh.
And this is the last thing I wanted to go through because I thought my price was,
Reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm like, no, it's pretty firm. And he goes, I mean, like, is paper currency all you'd accept?
Wait, what?
You mean like cash?
Yeah. And I'm like, well, I mean, it doesn't, apps.
Yeah.
It can be digital
Venmo.
currency.
Venmo, Cash
obviously.
App. Sure.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm thinking other things. Wink.
Oh.
Oh, Jesus.
Smoked meats?
And- maybe.
Wait, this isn't the Sonny's guy.
This
No.
isn't the Sonny's
This-
guy.
okay.
A separate guy.
This is Carl. And in my brain, I'm not there yet. So I'm like, oh, I've got a yard guy.
Yeah.
You're thinking he wants to chore his way.
Yeah.
Do
and
chores,
I don't have,
pay for rent.
I don't have that amount of chores.
No.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, it wouldn't be work outside the house.
Jesus. Oh, God.
So it's nice to know I still am attractive.
You got it. Yeah, you got it, man.
Yeah.
I think you should clarify more when you put your ads up, like what exactly you're looking
Cash
for.
only, no
Okay.
other transactions.
I'm learning as I go here.
Yes.
No, I know. I think cash only even invites some weirdos. Because, I mean, if you've got to have cash to pay rent, I don't know. Like,
Well,
you're inviting
okay.
people to steal some cigarettes.
That's true.
No ankle monitors.
Well, I like ankle monitors.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel bad because, I mean, this is a new experience for you, and your first three were kind of like...
Ooh, I thought the first one was a dud.
Yeah.
But now I'm like,
I
hey,
heard
Derek.
Greg was actually in the market for a
I don't
roommate.
think I want to.
You don't want to go through that danger.
I don't want to see him bring home a date, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
No one should have to live through that.
No,
Amen.
not
No.
at all.
There was a town in Florida called Pearson, and that's where our story takes place tonight.
Okay.
Fake town.
No, it's a real town, but it's the reason why you've never heard of it is probably because it's really small. As of 2018, there's only 1,700 people that live there.
2018, I got it.
Okay. Okay.
2 years old. They'd be 2 years
Well,
old.
the town wasn't born 2 years ago.
I'm going to give it to you.
That's how the format works, Wayne.
Let me get you a
town-
high five.
You say
Coming
a
over.
date, and we say how old they would be.
I know. So the town was actually settled in 1876, but it was incorporated, which means it became an official town in 1926. Okay, so that's our important date here.
2018.
So if you can imagine, back in 1926, if it only has 1,700 people now, back then, way
Yeah,
less.
7
super
probably.
small
Yeah.
town, right?
Yeah.
And so that's our story takes place in 1926, and that's important because at that time, America was in the middle of Prohibition.
Yes.
Yep.
And flappers.
Okay.
That's
wow.
right.
That's
So-
what he remembers.
All around the country, if you were making or selling alcohol, you're in big trouble
Oh, yeah.
because it's outlawed. You can't do it,
Definitely.
right? So the issue was basically since like the dawn of time, people have been making and drinking alcohol. It's just what we do.
And flappers.
Yes.
Right.
Flappers.
So what you had are these pockets of, I guess, like resistance all over the country of people who wanted to continue to drink and make alcohol.
I think
Easily.
the pockets were
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, right.
Everyone.
The issue was most of these were relatively easily handled by law enforcement.
Yeah.
Because the officials would just track where in the city the alcohol was coming from
Okay.
and then arrest those who were making it and then fine or arrest anyone who was buying it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably tracked them by cigarette butts.
Definitely.
Right, exactly. But that was only easy for cities, right? So that's easy to
Okay.
do if you're in a
Okay.
big city.
Yeah.
You can track it down. The problem for law enforcement was when these locations were kind of dense forest or swamps or uninhabited areas, it makes
can
their
see
job
that.
a lot more difficult.
Man, law enforcement must have been upset because like they probably had a relatively easy job, but then
Yeah.
when Prohibition started, they're like,
know.
wait, what? We have to
We
track
have
down
to-
everybody?
Hey, you know
Like-
that thing that everybody loves to do
Yeah.
and that we've always done?
Now
It's
you have to
It's illegal now.
ban it and
You know where
arrest
we all
everybody.
spend Friday night, fellas, with our guns and our holsters
Yeah.
and our. We can't do that
We
anymore.
can't do it anymore. So the areas that were uninhabited, those kind of forested areas,
Yep.
those were the difficult parts
Yes.
for law enforcement. So basically all of Florida.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Right.
Lawless.
Yeah.
No.
So, which brings us back to Pearson, Florida, the town it's very small. Not a lot of people in the 1920s. But the most interesting fact about Pearson, Florida, is that it's considered the Fern capital of the world.
Okay.
Okay. I knew I'd heard of it.
That's.
Yes.
I had made the connection when you said Prohibition. I was like, it's going to be something with ferns. It's always something with ferns.
Josh loves ferns.
He loves giving ferns too.
Yeah,
we
so
did.
You've seen ferns. It's basically those are the green plants in the corner of the room that no one notices.
Yeah, they just sit there.
They're boring, right? No one cares about them.
Oh.
There's probably one in the room right now.
Wow, that's really hateful.
Yeah, and we don't even see it. But basically, almost 100% of the town of Pearson's economy is fern related at this point.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
I think you could have given me 1,000 guesses. To
Right.
say, what do you think this town is known
Yeah.
for? I would never.
Even
believe it.
saying, what do you think they're known for growing?
Right.
And I would still never guess ferns.
Never
So
ferns.
the railroad that comes through town only does so to collect ferns and deliver them elsewhere.
Jeez.
I mean, you got to get them from somewhere.
So it's not even like dropping people off. You
well,
can't
no,
ride.
that's why the population. Nobody can get a ride on the train.
Yeah, you can't even ride there. It's a train comes through,
Ferns get tossed on.
picking up the ferns today, and then they go somewhere else. So if you live in Pearson around this time in the 20s, you're involved in agriculture. That's what you do,
Yeah, you're
right?
a fern lover.
You're planting, harvesting ferns, right?
Yeah.
But this is where we meet the Bryant family. Okay. The Bryant family consisted of 4 people. You had the patriarch who literally had no first name. Everyone just called him Paul Bryant.
That would be a first name.
But no, P-A-W.
Oh, Paul.
Oh,
So
okay.
like grandpa.
I thought you said Paul. I'm
No.
like, that's a name.
No.
I've heard that before.
It's like Grandpa Bryant.
Okay.
He has no first name.
Paul.
Yeah, his first name is Grandpa. All right. He had 2 sons,
Okay.
Donald Bryant and Jensen Bryant.
Love them.
Donald was the oldest, 19 years old, and Jensen was 15 years old. But there was also a sister called Dorothea. She was 13.
Okay.
This is the Bryant family.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't necessarily known for being the nicest people in Pearson, Florida.
That not having a name will do that.
Yes.
It makes you mean. So if a fight broke out in town, people assumed it was one of the Bryant boys.
Absolutely.
They're that family, right? Grandpa Bryant was notorious for being like downright rude, speaking to nobody. And Dorothea Bryant was kicked out of school more times than anybody could count.
Jeez.
Whoa.
So the whole family, they're kind of rough.
Okay.
The problem was the town put up with the Bryants because they had the largest fern farm in the city.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
This is so weird.
I don't
So,
understand.
When the
what's
city's economy is built on ferns, then the family with the largest fern farm is king.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
And you know
yes.
Pa.
Grandpa
is
Bryant
king.
is fern king, right?
happening. The man could grow some ferns.
That's what we're talking about. But in February of 1928, on a fairly normal day in Pearson,
Oh no.
3 cars from out of town that no one recognizes pull up downtown, and they're asking everybody, who's the chief of police here?
Okay. Wow.
They're all wearing suits.
I thought he was going to say, "Who's the chief of ferns?"
Yeah. Who's the fern chief? Oh, that's Grandpa Bryant. They're looking for the chief of police. So in the cars were detectives from the nearby city of Orlando, and they were here to investigate rumors of massive amounts of alcohol coming out of Pearson.
Wow.
Don't got that. We got ferns.
Right. Because for years in the capital of Florida, Tallahassee, the governor, John W. Martin, had investigators telling him that 70% of the state's illegal alcohol was coming out of the Orlando area.
Okay.
So
Which makes sense.
The issue is Tallahassee is putting a lot of pressure on the officials in Orlando.
Okay.
But Orlando has multiple special task forces cracking down hard on it, right? And they had found multiple distilleries in Orlando. They've arrested dozens of people, but the alcohol by the gallons were still coming out, like nonstop. So where they're at now in Orlando, they're going, hey, the governor's pressuring us, but we've pretty much eradicated it from Orlando.
Wow.
So now they're investigating the surrounding communities.
Oofa.
Stuff that's not even in their
That's
jurisdiction.
scary.
Right.
That's scary.
It's not even in their jurisdiction. And so all of a sudden, when they're interviewing people who have records, who are kind of troublemakers,
Oh, grumpy grump.
they're all going, you should check out Pearson.
Okay.
Okay. So
That's
now,
what happens when you're a bully.
yeah, people know.
And
So,
when you have too many ferns.
right.
That's true.
So now these investigators, they're in Pearson, okay, special agents from Orlando, and they're speaking to the police chief of Pearson. And the police chief is saying, look, man, if we had alcohol distilleries here, I would know about it.
Bro, I'd be crunk.
Yeah. He's like, everyone in town who isn't a doctor, a teacher, or a cop literally farms ferns for a living. Okay?
The Orlando police are like, where are we?
Yeah. And so the police chief is like, it's not happening here. So the special agents say, look, man, is there anyone in town that like has a bad reputation? Because we got to have something.
Yeah, because
We got-
alcohol does make you kind of grumpy.
We got to come back with something. We got to,
Nice.
report to our superiors.
I love when cops look for a reason.
Yeah, right.
We got to have something. We got to
Just
bust
give
them on
us something.
something.
So the police chief, it kind of puts him in a tight spot because the Bryant family, they fit the description of like, bad folks.
Yes.
But they're also the biggest fern supplier in
Yeah,
town, which is the
okay.
economy. But the police chief, he also knows like they're kind of mean people, but he's like, they're not making alcohol.
They're not making alcohol.
But he's a man of the law. So he's like, look, okay, maybe check out the Bryant's place.
Maybe. If
Throw
you're
'em
driving
under
that
the bus.
If
way,
you happen to drive by the Bryant's place.
I want to give you something, cop to cop here.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
it. That's what happened. So the special agents, there's 9 of them
Jeez.
in 3 cars. They show up to the
All
Bryant.
being paid.
Right.
Yes.
They show up to the Bryant family farmhouse and no one's there.
Okay.
And so,
It doesn't take a lot to probably grow ferns.
right.
No.
But to kind of paint a picture of their property, because this is important, the Bryants had a smaller wooden house sitting on the very front of the property.
Okay.
And then they had a wooden shed that had like a tractor and other farming supplies.
Yeah.
Like you do.
But that's literally the only livable, kind of walkable space. The entirety of their acreage is ferns. It's fern forest. Okay.
Fern forest.
No,
yeah.
literally, it's a fern forest. Like,
Yeah.
like they're dense. So, like, if you've ever seen one, they're incredibly dense. The ferns already grow naturally in Florida. So, if you're doing things to purposely grow them for agricultural reasons, they just get
It
thick.
just gets out of hand.
You get out of,
get
it.
it.
gets out of hand. That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, we
love
get
them.
it. It's thick, Wayne.
Yeah.
You got fern envy here.
Thick boy ferns. So besides a couple smaller wooden buildings, the property is all forest. And so the special agents, when they realize no one's home, they start going through the Bryant's house.
Oh,
Door's probably unlocked
There's gotta
and
be
open
some-
halfway.
So
some
they're going
kind of
through the
illegal-
house.
Now they're
Right.
doing a welfare check.
They're looking
Yes.
for something
Uh-huh.
to get them. They go through the shed.
Mhm.
After an hour of searching, they find zero evidence of
Wow.
alcohol.
and so they just leave
Yeah.
and just say,
I
forget.
leave
Right.
a note saying
Yeah.
sorry.
Problem solved.
We wrecked your house.
They find no evidence of alcohol, much less anything regarding making alcohol. There's nothing.
Yeah.
So the special agents from Orlando, they're standing around their vehicles, realizing that the leads that were pointing them towards Pearson, the town of Pearson, they're probably wrong. And as they're discussing this, out of the fern woods
Okay.
comes 4 people pointing
Jeez.
shotguns right at them.
Okay,
Oh,
now we're
wow.
getting somewhere.
So it's the Bryant family, and they're pissed.
I bet one of those 9 guys is like, I should probably take one of these home to my wife.
Yeah,
And he had a fern in his hand.
Yeah. So none of the special agents even had time to draw their weapons.
Wow.
So this isn't like a standoff as much as like a hostage situation. Okay.
Jeez.
Grandpa Bryant immediately wants to know why they're on the property and why they're going through the property. So they've been watching from the woods probably. They know what's going on. So I don't know if it was fear or just like plain luck, but the lead investigator just starts spilling all the information. He just starts confessing
Looking for
everything.
booze, man.
Yeah, he
Don't shoot.
He says, to Paul Bryant, look, man, like, we're trying to find out who's creating this massive amount of alcohol in the area. A lot of people say it's coming from Pearson, and we were told to come check you out. Like,
Yeah.
heads up, that's what's happening.
He goes, well, have you checked out the sheriff?
Right? Yeah, no, I wish. But in this case, honestly, it was like the absolute best thing that the investigator could have done because it eased the tensions. And so all the Bryants lowered their weapons, and Paul Bryant basically said, look, like, you came to the wrong place. I'm just a farmer. Get off my property. So no blood, no violence.
But before you go, you want a drink?
Yeah, exactly. I'm toasted. So the special investigators go to Orlando empty-handed and confused, and the Bryants go back to tending to their ferns, and the town of Pearson goes back to normal for about 3 weeks.
Okay.
Because 20 days after this standoff on the Bryant property, a young man by the name of Nick Foundry shows up at the police station asking to speak to the chief.
Wow.
And
Pearson.
this kid's like 12 years old. What's that?
In Pearson?
No, Nick Foundry.
Nick Foundry shows up at the Pearson town chief of police. Yeah. And so he's asking to speak to the chief. He's like 12 years old. So the chief of Pearson doesn't have much going on. And he's like, what's up, kid? I'll talk to you. What's going on?
Nice.
So Nick Foundry starts telling him how he and his friends had stolen some cigarettes from his dad, and they were walking through the fern woods to find a place to smoke. And they were afraid of being caught.
Arrested.
So they kept going deeper and deeper and deeper into the fern woods.
Thick ferns.
And this 12-year-old kid says we walked for like 2 hours to try and find a safe place to smoke. And then we stumbled upon machines we've never seen before.
Oh, wow. Time machines.
And so he described large cylinder-like tanks connected to pipes that ran underground towards this shed-like structure.
Love it.
Smoke was coming out of the shed, and pipes on the other end were shooting water into these 20-gallon drums.
Jeez.
But as the kids got closer, they realized it wasn't water because it smelled sour.
Oh. Probably orange juice.
Yeah. So the chief of police, he knew exactly what they had stumbled upon. It's a moonshine distillery.
It's a moonshiners.
So Nick Foundry said that he and his friends immediately ran because out of the shed came Grandpa Bryant.
Oh, my gosh.
So the police chief says to Nick, like, you're the only one that showed up to tell me this. Would your friends corroborate the story?
Uh-huh.
And he's like, I don't think so, man.
They're probably scared.
Like, they're scared. They're
Yeah.
not going to do it. But either way, the police chief was like, I feel like I kind of have all the information I need.
Yep.
So, but again, this is an issue for the chief because now
He's one guy.
he's got a witness. Yeah, but only one 12-year-old boy pretty much saying The Bryants are making moonshine deep in their fern forest, but the chief can't understand why. Because he's like, look, the Bryant family, they're super poor.
They're fern rich.
Yeah, well, they're fern rich, but they're still. I mean, let's be honest. People
they're rich in ferns.
They're not buying. People aren't buying ferns like crazy.
Well, yeah.
So they're rich in ferns, but they're not a rich family.
Yeah. Well, if you're rich in ferns, you're rich in life.
Yes.
Or in heaven.
Or in heaven.
Right. But nonetheless, like he's like, look, none of this is adding up.
Yep.
But I'm a man of the law, so I'm going to contact Orlando.
Oh.
Let him know that I got a witness. Okay. So they start coming up with a plan, and they decide that the very next day they're going to storm the property before sunrise, arrest the Bryant family, and then go hunting for the distilleries out in the ferns.
You got to get up pretty early in the day to get a jump on the Bryant.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to find the distillers first,
I think
and then arresting.
Because it's such a small town, it's just the chief.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, regardless, he needs help.
Yeah.
So his idea is if he gets help from Orlando and he gets back up, they can arrest him, surprise him,
and
arrest
then sort
him,
it out later.
and then sort it out later. Because he feels like it's going to be a shootout. It's not going to go.
Let's
It's not going to
arrest
go
you
on.
for a crime we suspect you of.
Yeah, because of a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're usually the best witnesses.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you guys are onto it. So the following night at 3 a.m., 6 special agents and 20 deputies from Orlando,
Oh my gosh.
Goodness.
along with the chief of police of Pearson,
Okay.
all meet on the far side of town of Pearson to kind of go through the plan a couple more times. So they're on the opposite end of town from the Bryant farm.
Nice.
Okay. The plan is at around the 5 a.m. mark before sunrise, they're going to approach the property, kind of arrest them. So this is 3 a.m. at this point, and they're waiting around. The idea is to catch family off guard while they're sleeping. You know it.
Got it.
Yeah.
So everything was going according to plan, and they were waiting patiently. But around 4:30 a.m., half an hour before the target time, there is a mysterious glowing in the distance.
Oh.
And it took everyone a few minutes to realize what was happening, but it was a massive fire.
Uh-oh.
And it looked like it was coming from the Bryant family property.
Okay.
So by the time the agents arrive,
Yeah.
the fire had spread throughout the acreage, torching the Bryant family home and just about every living plant in the vicinity.
Whoopsie.
And so at this point, the police chief is kind of sad because he's like, he didn't have hardcore proof the Bryants were even doing anything.
Yeah.
He had the word of some kid, and now the most profitable farm is up in smokes. A family's house is burnt down, presumably with them inside, and all these officers and now townspeople who have gathered around
Oh,
are
gosh.
standing around and watching this fire, just kind of waiting for it to stop.
How do you
Right?
put a bunch of ferns out?
Yeah, you
Right.
don't have firemen there. You got a bunch of cops.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. But from neighboring towns, fire departments do come,
Oh.
and they were able to contain it. And it burns for about 12 hours until
Jeez.
mid-afternoon the following day.
Wow.
So then they're finally able to start searching kind of the charred remains. And they put together search parties and they start checking the property piece by piece. But there's absolutely zero sign of the Bryant family.
Uh-oh.
So they go through the
Oopsies.
house, they go through the shed, they go through the fern forest. There's no human remains. Like, they can't find the Bryant family anywhere.
It got that hot.
Yep.
What they do find,
Ferns burn hot. Though.
yeah, they do. What they do find is what investigators called one of the most sophisticated moonshining operations south of the Mississippi.
Jeez.
Must have been there before the Bryants moved in, though.
Yeah.
The distillery seen by Nick Foundry and his friends was one of 4 that each had underground tunnels allowing for drainage and storage of what appeared to be thousands of gallons
my
of illegally
gosh.
created alcohol.
Wow.
Most of the barrels were empty.
Okay.
And
It
here we
became
go.
truly apparent that the Bryants weren't just a troubled family in a small town,
Yes.
but they were the leaders of a much larger secret moonshining operation.
What the?
Lord.
So they obviously had help. They had workers,
Yeah.
helping them do all this stuff. But the big questions remained: where were the Bryants,
Yes.
and how
Yeah.
were they getting the moonshine out of Pearson?
And
Yeah,
where
you'd
was their
notice
money?
big like trucks.
You would think so.
Mhm.
We don't know exactly what tipped off the investigators, but most people believe it was the sound of the 6 p.m. train arriving at the station to load up the hundreds of daily ferns
Oh my gosh.
that were being taken out of the city
my
of Pearson
gosh.
and being sold all around the southeastern United States.
So during Prohibition, we saw alcohol sales drop.
And fern sales go through the roof.
skyrocket.
2 days after the fire,
Uh-huh.
that same train was stopped 100 miles away near Jacksonville, Florida.
Oh,
Dozens of federal agents combed through the ferns only to find that in each one was buried multiple mason jars of Bryant family moonshine.
What?
So for days or for years, every day the fern train would arrive. They'd load up the ferns.
Wow.
And they're
That's
stuffed full of
amazing.
Under the
moonshine,
noses.
and the
of
fern train would
everybody.
leave. So their methods were discovered and the operation was halted, but the family was never seen or heard from again.
Love it.
Jeez.
The only thing that we know is that 2 months after the fire and after the operation had ceased, the amount of moonshine coming out of Central Florida had been decreased by 65%,
Good
according
Lord.
to the officials in
Holy
Tallahassee.
garbage.
So that is the story of the Curious Bryant family and the Moonshine Fern Farm.
Oof.
The Moonshine Fern Farm.
Yikers.
Do we,
Yes.
so we, but we
Yikers
don't know
Island.
where the we don't know where the
Organic.
fire came from or why the fire started. Like,
The idea is that whenever he saw the kids, he realized they were busted, so
Boom.
they
So
so
they
they
just-
torched it,
That's
And
the
they
best
got
type of
out.
criminal.
and they probably hopped on the same train that took the ferns out.
that's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, and so what's fascinating about this is if you look around the time in history, there's a ton of just like moonshining and distillery, and there's countless stories of these small towns, not just in Florida, but like Tennessee, Mississippi, Virginia, where these small families were presumably just like innocent people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In this case, kind of mean, but they were running empires of moonshine,
Yeah.
And like
so
it-
there's 4 distilleries on the site.
and they had underground tunnels.
That's crazy.
Unreal.
And so what's crazy is like, if you remember back early in the story when the investigators were looking around Orlando,
Mhm.
most of the trouble people were like, check out Pearson.
Mhm.
So it's almost like the underground, they knew what was
Mhm.
going on, and they were probably some of the ones being hired labor. But you also have to ask
True.
the question, who, the conductor of the train? I mean, they're all
Oh,
involved.
yeah.
He's just
It's gotta go
delivering
deep.
ferns, though.
But
Very heavy ferns.
yeah.
But that's kind of the thing is like Prohibition basically created criminals out of like innocent people.
Yeah.
People who just, wanted to make a living or
Mhm.
wanted to.
When they outlaw something that's, loved, beloved,
Right.
it does turn the average person into a criminal.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's actually fascinating. But that story was actually sent in by, I have the name here, Cynthia Oliver of Orlando, Florida. So we
Okay.
want to thank her for all the details.
She sent
And
me
the
a
history?
fact that the Billy Joel song "We Didn't Start the Fire" wasn't originally written by him.
Okay.
It was by
by
the Bryant
Grandpa
family.
Bryant. Come on.
Pa Bryant wrote.
He wrote the chorus.
Right.
Okay.
Billy Joel
The-
obviously filled in the rest.
Yeah, he ruined it.
Yeah,
Well,
he did.
Shout out to Billy Joel. But if you have enjoyed what you've heard tonight, you can find out more about us at fmofm.com. We've got an interactive episode map that's really cool. We've got some movie reviews and a travel blog where Audrey, our marketing director, she goes out to these locations where we have talked about in episodes before
Yep.
and gives you guys a firsthand experience.
Just did a monkey one, right?
She just did the
did a
one from
monkey
Ocala, the monkey one, episode 7.
It's exciting.
That was cool. There's also a tab at the top that says
Yep.
support us.
Oh yeah.
And if you like the show, you can donate with credit card or via PayPal there. It's
Sweet.
very
Thank you
helpful.
for that.
And social media is FMOFM Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, you know what we have to do, right?
Yeah, I need to check my fern.
Gotta check on them
We
first.
gotta
There
check
might
out-
be some moonshine under my fern.
Yeah, water your ferns,
Yes.
but first check for mason jars.
Amen.
Yes.
And if you find any, give us a call.
Do it.
Give us a call.